Welcome to my presentation of the Informal Assessment Strategy assignment. To begin, I would like to give an introduction to the informal assessment. What is it? An informal assessment is a procedure for obtaining information that can be used to make judgments about students' learning behavior and characteristics, or programs using means other than standardized instruments. It is used to help evaluate a student's performance and progress on an individual level, and it measures both students' and instructors' progress. An informal assessment strategy that I've chosen is portfolio assessment. So what is it? Well, it is a systematic collection of students' work samples, activities, accomplishments, and achievements. The selected content should demonstrate a student's accomplishment over time. The portfolio should include the student's self-evaluation, guidelines for selecting portfolio content, and the judging criteria, which, in other words, the marking rubrics. So for example, in an immigration consulting diploma program, a student's portfolio could consist of a procedure manual and a documents checklist for potential immigration clients wishing to immigrate to Canada. The instructor in the beginning will provide a marking rubrics in advance, highlighting how he or she will grade the student. The student will also do a self-assessment to demonstrate their understanding of what worked or did not work for them and explain their learning process. The purpose and the goal of portfolio assessment is to provide documentation of a student's achievement in specific areas over time. Inside the portfolio, it could include assignments, projects, group assignments, business plans, test score, written work samples, videotape, presentations, etc. To help students assemble a portfolio of their talent which represents their capabilities and records their education journey and achievements. Teachers can use process portfolios to help students identify learning goals, document progress over time, and demonstrate learning mastery. There are two types of portfolio. There is process portfolio and product portfolio. A process portfolio documents the stage of learning and provides a progressive record of student growth, whereas a product portfolio demonstrates mastery of a learning task or a set of learning objectives and contains only the best and final version of the work. So what are the advantages of portfolio assessment? To begin, it promotes student self-evaluation, reflection, and critical thinking. It measures performance based on genuine samples of student work. It provides flexibility in measuring how students accomplish their learning goals. It enables teachers and students to share the responsibility for setting learning goals and for evaluating progress towards meeting these goals. Giving students the opportunity to have an extensive input in the learning process, it facilitates cooperative learning activities, including peer evaluation and tutoring, cooperative learning groups, and peer conferencing. It provides a process for structuring learning in stages, provides opportunity for students and teachers to discuss learning goals and the progress towards those goals in structured and unstructured conferences. And finally, it enables measurement of multiple dimensions of student progress by including different types of data and materials. Some of the disadvantages and the limitations of portfolio assessment include: it requires extra time to plan an assessment system and conduct the assessment. Gathering all of the necessary data and work samples can make portfolio bulky and difficult to manage. Developing a systematic and deliberate management system is difficult, but this step is necessary in order to make portfolios more than a random collection of student work. Scoring portfolio involves the extensive use of subjective evaluation procedures such as rating scales and professional judgment, and this limits reliability because it's subjective. And finally, scheduling individual portfolio conferences is difficult, and the length of each conference may interfere with other instructional activities. Some of the best practices for portfolio assessment include: make sure the portfolio is not a dumpster, but a thoughtful collection of materials that documents learning over time. Clear criteria for evaluation, including what must be included in the portfolio, and marking rubrics for evaluation are vital to successful portfolio assessment. Combine portfolio assessment with self-assessment. Self-assessment is where students collect information about their own learning, analyze what it reveals about their progress towards the intended learning goals, and plan the next step in their learning. For example, Why did you design your procedure manual or checklist? Why did you design your procedure manual or checklist that way? Is the presentation logical and effective? Steps and feedback in the portfolio assessment process include: first, the teacher should develop evaluation procedures for keeping track of portfolio content and for grading the portfolio. Second, the teacher and student need to clearly identify the portfolio contents, which are samples of students' work reflection, teacher observation, and conference records. Finally, the teacher needs a plan for holding portfolio conferences, which are formal and informal meetings in which students review their work and discuss their progress. Because they encourage reflective teaching and learning, these conferences are an essential part of the portfolio assessment process. And that concludes my presentation on portfolio assessment. Thank you.